Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Kimberly Boschman and this is the Intentionally Intuitive Podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the forecast for each life path number. Timestamps are provided in the description box and pinned in the comments section. We're going to take a look at those forecasts for December 2025. Before we get into it, please know that this is a general forecast. If you would like your own personal numerology reading, where we'll take a deep dive into your own personal numerology and your astrology, please book some time with me. My information's in the description box below, and I'd love to work with you. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at December 2025. Life path number 1, you all are going to be working with the vibration of the 13-4 throughout December. And so for this energy, I would ask you, what is your lotus flower? What is it that over the course of 2025, your focus has been drawn to? It's something that maybe, you had a greater vision for or a greater goal for, and you knew it was going to be something that you would have to commit to, persevere, overcome the challenges, and stay dedicated to whatever this is in order to see it grow, in order to see it bloom. And it wouldn't necessarily be something that would be, grow quickly or would come easy, but it's something that you knew in your heart would be worthwhile and would be sustainable and worth building. Now, this could be something that, again, throughout the course of 2025, you've been focused on, or it could be something that you're initiating in December as you are standing sort of on the precipice of 2026 and a new sort of chapter, a new beginning. And it might be something that you want to focus on ongoing. Whatever it is, I want you to look at it as a lotus flower. And, we understand that the meaning of that, right? The lotus flower grows from mud, grows from the dirt, from, it grows in areas where you wouldn't think that that kind of beauty would be possible. And with the 13-4 energy, it embodies death, transformation, rebirth. It embodies building something beautiful from something not so beautiful. And all of that can be difficult, can be challenging, we can be easily dissuaded from continuing to persevere towards that goal, towards that vision, because again, it's not necessarily easy, but it's something that we likely feel very drawn to and very committed to. So whatever this is for you, whatever your lotus flower is, as we close this month out for 2025, I want you to think about what that has been for you or what that will be for you. And through that process, you can understand that maybe you're at the point of that, receiving that bloom, those rewards, reaching that goal. Or maybe you understand that this is a journey and this is a good month to try to figure out what is needed in order to continue to move towards that goal and make it a reality, to take the concept and turn it into something real. Knowing that it's going to take time, because good things don't happen overnight. Sustainable things do not happen overnight. And as a 1, this is such a big part of your journey, sort of that, moving along a path of inspiration and sometimes having to pivot, sometimes having to change direction, but keeping the ultimate vision in mind and keeping the integrity of that vision, whatever that may be for you in your life. But it's going to require taking risks and, again, overcoming those challenges and keeping your eye on the prize, so to speak, without being easily deterred and having to overcome that self-doubt that may creep in, or the doubt that comes from other people not understanding the vision that could come in, or the competition, the opposition, whatever has come in for you or will come in for you when it comes to not only planting, but making sure you nurture and persevere when it comes to helping your lotus flower to bloom. So this is a really big goal of 2025, working with this energy. Where is it that, there's some things, again, that might need to be released that didn't work? And a lot of times, especially with some of the more ambitious numbers, like 1, when things don't work, we can see that as failure or that we did something wrong, but sometimes it just means it didn't work. And why continue to build upon something that's not working? You can move in a direction that will help you to see how it can work better. But sometimes we have to release those things that aren't working, that have expired, that are no longer, serving the purpose, whatever the purpose may be. And so there could likely be some of that this month, especially as we're closing out an entire year cycle. There could be some things that you see are more of a hindrance and standing in your way to getting you, in order for you to get to where it is that you want to go. And there may be some releasing that, letting go, but also incorporating, trying new things, seeing what sticks, what works, all those things, and paying attention to your messaging. Working with 13-4 energy requires there to be integrity behind the words, integrity behind the messaging. Make sure this month that your words match your actions. Make sure that what you're putting out into the world feels good. And what I mean by good, feels like there's integrity behind it, feels true for you. Try to stay away from this month and ongoing, the clickbait or the sort of the catfishing or the catchy, titles just to get people's attention. That sort of marketing scheme that catches people's attention to, dive a little bit deeper. Try to stay as authentic and full of integrity as possible, because you might catch those people, right? You might get the people coming in through that sort of manipulation. I mean, that's what it is. But those aren't the people that you likely would want to bring in, because they likely won't stay. They're coming in for that dopamine hit. They're coming in because you're trying to cater to that like create that emotional charge. And so I would say stay away from that. If there's, anywhere in your life that you might be doing that, because you'll reel the people in, but it won't likely be the people who will stay or who will bring greater integrity to your business, to your friendships, your relationships, whatever it may be. So pay attention to your messaging, pay attention to your words this month, especially as ones. Just make sure you're saying what you mean and you mean what you say. And again, be careful about trying to reel people in just for the sake of reeling people in. I pulled an animal wisdom message for you all, and you got elk energy. And this is strength. If you've ever seen an elk in the wild, I mean, they're just massive, and they demand respect. They are very strong animals, and there's a presence there. And so you are meant to, especially as a one, have that sense of solid presence. You know what you came here for. You know what you're striving for. You know what, even if you don't fully know, there's this presence about you that you know that you are capable of achieving your goals. You are capable of being the visionary and blazing the trail like nobody else. And even if you have to continue to convince yourself of that, when you're ultimately standing in that one energy, you are basically the elk. You are solid. You are sturdy. Nothing can take you down. And it's a very solid energy. And so there's this like confidence, but not overconfidence where we're stepping into ego territory or inflated ego territory. It's that confidence of, yeah, I know that my ideas are important. I know that my ideas have worth. I know that I can achieve what I set my mind to achieve because I'm a one. And that is such a big part of my purpose in this journey. And you're not just meant to create a field of or a pool of lotus flowers. You're meant to create many. And they're meant to be different and done differently and all these things. And that requires strength. That requires inner strength. It can require, that strength of perseverance and fortitude. And so there's this energy this month that, again, is pushing you to commit, to recognize what your lotus flower is and commit to it, and to continue to persevere and to not skip corners or rush through the process, but to have patience and not be overly impulsive, not give up too easy, but also to tie in, that piece of pulling from that inner strength and recognizing, yeah, I do have an important place in this world and I'm going to own it. I'm going to stand firm. I'm going to stand strong. Just like elk energy. Again, if you've ever seen one in the wild, they are so unbothered by what's around them. It's a very solid energy. So there's some of that to pull from. Find your confidence this month. And sometimes the way to find that confidence is to do the thing. So do the thing. Beautiful energy this month for you all. I hope it's a great one. Take care. Bye for now. Life path number 2, you are going to be working with the vibration of the 14-5 for December. And so this is that kind of energy that is rebellious, but grounded, free, yet focused, because you have the vibration of the 5, which brings in this need for greater freedom, release, not taking life so seriously. Again, kind of flying by the seat of your pants, being more spontaneous, letting life happen and, experiencing it as it does. But then you also have the vibration of the 1 and the 4, and the 1 brings in the focus to you. So, what are you going to do? What is your actions? What are you going to create, or, how are you going to advocate for yourself? How are you going to, whatever. It's about you this month. And that 4 energy says it's time to get serious, to have a plan, to be methodical, to get organized, right? And so you can feel a little bit of sort of push-pull energy this month, because that 4 is very refined. It's about, again, systems and being organized and having that greater strategy. But the 5 is like, I don't want to be tied down. I want to just run freely. I want to be able to, have my own schedule, try things when I want to try them, say yes when I want to say yes, say no when I want to say no, and to really get the most out of life by just flying by the seat of my pants. So you're going to have to find the center point this month where you aren't taking life so serious, but you're organized, right? Where you are kind of spontaneous, but you also have a plan. So finding that greater balance this month, whether it's in your relationships, in work, in, your health routine, whatever it is, there's this push to find the greater balance between the 2 energies, and to not be overly rigid, but to not be overly living in excess either. So moderation is really going to be key this month, and recognizing where it is in your life that you fall to the extremes. Where is it that you are, in self-deprivation, where you don't allow yourself to splurge every now and then, or take the trip, or, do the thing that might be a little risky? Where is it that maybe you are living in excess and living beyond your means, or in some kind of addiction, or whatever it may be, right? But in excess to the other extreme. This month is going to ask you to find your center point, to come back to balance, to, again, because both energies are very much needed. And obviously that 1 energy says that you are the one that's going to, the focus is on you. Nothing happens without you. And so this month could be about recognizing where it is within your life that you might be falling to those extremes, and where it is that you need to take a more moderate approach without neglecting any side of yourself. So it becomes this dance where you're still learning the footwork, but once you figure out the footwork, then you're really truly getting the most out of that experience, because you're not overly rigid, overly controlling, but you're also not, again, living beyond your means, or falling to addiction or something like that. So it's really this beautiful energy that encourages you to take the risk, to find greater freedom in your relationships, in your work, in your health habits, whatever it may be, in your belief systems, your values, but to also maintain the integrity of it, right? To still have that sense of cohesion. So it's about that, finding that greater balance, ultimately, to be rebellious but grounded, free yet focused. And it is possible. And when you get there, then things kind of fall into place a lot more easier, and it feels a lot more aligned. Again, because you're at that center point and not falling to the extremes. If there are things where, again, you've kind of just been feeling kind of out of control, like you don't, maybe completely disorganized, this is a time to get organized, while also trying new things and stepping outside your comfort zone. Taking risks, but maybe taking calculated risks, right? So there's strong emphasis here, again, about finding that greater balance, especially this month as we're closing out an entire year and on the precipice of a new year. And so just keep in mind, extremes of anything are toxic or can become toxic very quickly. So the cycle that you all are moving through is helping you to find that greater balance and equilibrium wherever it is that you might be or have fallen into some of those extremes, to not give up a side of yourself, but to find that healthy center point. This is a month for thinking big and in broader terms, especially as you're thinking about, what you want for 2026, what you want, how you want to contribute, what your goals are, what you want to achieve. Think big, but also this is a time for getting your ducks in a row, again, because of that 4 energy. So it can be a really, really productive month, but it depends, of course, how you use this energy. Keep in mind, the 14-5 is a karmic energy. And so anytime we're moving through a 14-5 cycle, things can feel a little bit, like it takes more effort to achieve whatever it is we're trying to achieve. So just kind of keep that in mind. It's not really an energy where you'll see those instant gratifications. It just will require a little bit more work, a little bit more effort in order to do so. Now, this is also a cycle that can help you to take a closer look at sort of your previous actions, your previous behaviors, and what worked, what didn't work. And so this is a good time to figure out how to modify any areas of your life or your lifestyle that can help you to sort of get better on track, right? To feel more aligned with who you want to be, how you want to be. Again, this can work great with like health, or again, if you're working with any kind of addiction or anything along those lines, figuring out what's been working, what's getting you the results you want to see, and what hasn't been working. What's kind of, where is it that you're working against yourself, or you might be sabotaging yourself in some way. So this is a great time to kind of check that out and see what works. Also, creativity can be flowing just really strongly this month. And the 4 actually helps you to bring it to life, to get serious about it, to make it happen. So the 5 is kind of like the dream, like what do we want to create and what's possible? And again, thinking in like big sweeping terms. But the 4 helps us to get serious about it and to figure out what's needed in order to bring it from the point of, the concept stage to the stage where it becomes something real, something tangible. With this energy, pay attention to any kind of like competitive situations or oppositions that could arise. And I would say, especially in like money or business dealings, also with like close relationships, this is a cycle where you could see people come out now who you thought were friends or who you thought were allies, who really were just kind of after what you have type thing. And again, I don't say this to like make you overly cautious, just be aware, and kind of be open to, if you see it, you're meant to see it. So don't dismiss it too quickly or too easily. But if those competitive situations come up, just remember, you get to choose how you engage. You get to choose how you sort of interact with that person or that situation. And you can choose to disengage. You don't have to give your energy to anything or anyone that is not in your best interest. So I would say choose wisely. This is really, truly one of those beautiful cycles where you can turn your dreams into reality. And I know that sounds really trite, but it is one of those cycles. It will take effort. It'll probably take more effort than you want to put in, but this is a cycle that can help you to see that anything is possible and to think outside of the box, to think outside of, again, sort of your comfort zone. And you might have to step outside that comfort zone, but it'll be worth it. I pulled an animal wisdom message for you all, and you got moth energy. And it's interesting because this can indicate some kind of ending, something closing out, but it can also kind of bring to light, pay attention to the light that you're following. And what I mean by that is, we think about moths and they're drawn to light, but that sort of being indiscriminate about that light can lead to bad situations. In other words, if they're drawn to just artificial light, they might not get the nutrients that they want, but if they're drawn to the fire, they're probably not going to make it. So in other words, this month, be discerning in what you choose to follow, what you choose to believe, what you choose to be true for you. And yeah, just be discriminative, be discerning when it comes to making those decisions, because you want to make sure that the light you're following, or what you believe to be a light, is actually light and not some kind of fire that's going to burn you. So just, stay vigilant and be discriminative in that sense, especially when it comes to those more competitive situations. It's not worth it. And, come back to your why, and that will help you to decide whether you want to engage or not. So I hope it's a great one. Take care, everyone. Bye for now. Life path number 3, you are going to be working with the vibration of the 15-6 throughout December. And so the focus becomes very much on relationships. Those relationships that are close to your heart, like partners, friends, family, your close-knit community. And there's something greater to be discovered this month when it comes to the difference between conditional love and unconditional love. It's kind of like recognizing or understanding what love is not in order to understand what love is through the experiences of life. And this month could have you kind of looking at your relationships more deeply and sort of recognizing, again, or kind of evaluating which connections feel supportive, feel good, feel aligned with who you are in this moment. What relationships have sort of are still part of your life, but maybe have reached that expiration date, meaning that it isn't that equal exchange of energy. It does not feel good. You feel drained after those connecting with those individuals or those people. And maybe it's about having a deeper conversation. Anytime you move through a 6 cycle, it will bring to the surface where there is not truth, honesty, and the vibration of unconditional love. And it can be confronting. So you just, it's pushing you to initiate those conversations. It's pushing you to recognize where maybe you're being taken advantage of, or you're allowing yourself to be taken advantage of, or you're not being seen or heard, or you're being misunderstood, and where there needs to be some kind of adjustment, whether that's, again, through having that conversation, or maybe it's some kind of like stepping away from something that doesn't feel good, that doesn't feel aligned, that might feel more toxic. It doesn't mean you have to like block that person, cut them out of your life completely or whatever. It just means you might want to take a few steps back. And if it's a connection where you're constantly showing up and giving and all those things, it might be, again, just a connection where you just need to pull back a little bit, especially if you've tried the conversations and they're not working. Just pull back a little bit and don't give as much. I mean, that might be difficult, and create that space that is inviting for that equal exchange of energy. So it's kind of like, I often use the example of, you have the pet who you just keep bringing the food to the pet, and then one day you get tired of constantly having to bring the food to the pet. You want the pet to come to you and eat the food. And until you stop taking the food to the pet, the pet is not going to get up and put in the effort to come to you. This is such an awful example, but I think you get the gist. And so, by slowly kind of stepping back and showing the pet that they need to come to you for the food, instead of you keep bringing it to the couch for them, that's the only way you're going to break that habit or break that behavior. And so there's definitely something here this month about you being your best advocate, speaking up for yourself, being very honest in that conversation as well, and creating the space for the other person to be honest as well. And it can really create those healthier environments. And, will people be upset that you are no longer bringing the food to them? Yeah. But they'll figure it out that, oh, you know what? I got to meet this person halfway. I have to show up. And it can really change the dynamic. So that could come up this month. So keep that in mind. Relationships are at the forefront. And then again, seeing where it is that your relationships or those connections might be overly restrictive or sort of creating barriers that don't necessarily need to be there. And it's about breaking through those barriers and breaking through those expectations, those conditions that might be present. Maybe you're showing up with a bag full of conditions or expectations for the other person, and you need to kind of sift through those and realize that you're not meeting the person where they're at in this moment. You're seeing the potential, and that's kind of what you're showing up to, and that can create just an experience of expectations. And that usually doesn't turn out well. So you might be asked to, recognize that about yourself. Or you could see where there are other people in your life who continuously show up with those expectations. Again, they're seeing you for what they want for you, or they see your greater potential, or what they believe your potential to be. And that's what they're showing up to. And that's not fair to you. And so again, having those greater conversations will help. Hopefully help, or at least will help you to see, that connection is more about expectations or conditions in order to receive that support, that love, whatever, than it is about that person actually meeting you halfway in an equal exchange of energy. So really kind of sensitive month could be, but could also help you to realize the people who are super supportive, who do see you for who you are in this moment, and not only respect that, but celebrate that. And so it can be really, really rewarding in that sense as well. The other thing I would say is there's a lot about surrender this month. So, surrender in the present moment. And that can bring in just this feeling of a tremendous amount of freedom, because you don't have to figure it all out. You don't have to be in control of it all. You're not meant to be. You can only be in control of what you are in control of. Everything else, you're just meant to turn over to, God, the universe, your higher self, whatever, and they'll take care of it. So it can be very, very freeing to surrender to the things that we don't have control over. We might still want X, Y, and Z, but we don't necessarily have control over X, Y, and Z. So really, embracing that can help us to feel much more free and release that burden of feeling like we have to figure it out. This is definitely one of those months where I would say laugh more, don't take things too seriously, see what life is showing you, and, figure out how to move with it, how to work with it, with using discernment. The other thing I would say about this energy is it can really bring into focus the materialistic side of life. And so this is a time where you could receive money, you could receive favors from others, opportunities could come up that are very unexpected, that could bring in some kind of radical change within your lifestyle that can release you from any of those limitations that you might be kind of stuck in. And it can allow for that greater sense of expression, especially when it comes to love, or how you express love, how you receive love, what your expectations are around love. All of that is up for evaluation this month. Long held views, or again, expectations or beliefs or even values could change this month. And those sort of newly found beliefs can really set your mind at ease, can make you feel less suffocated, less like you have to control it all. And it can kind of help you to overcome some of those old fears. So if you're someone who's single, looking to mingle, but afraid of doing so because you're afraid of getting hurt, or you're afraid of being rejected, or anything that the ego usually throws our way, this is a beautiful month to put yourself out there, to be vulnerable, to take that step, and to just face whatever comes your way, with doing so, because it's in that process of doing that you're opening yourself up to that relationship that you say that you want, or that friendship that you say that you want, or that deeper connection. But you have to put yourself out there first and be vulnerable and open to what can come in. So overcoming those fears will be something you'll probably have to kind of work with this month. And I would also say this month truly is an opportunity to recognize what belief systems, what thoughts, what actions are limiting you, and which ones help to set you free or to feel more free. And so the ones that are limiting, this is the month to release, This is the one to let those go because they're not working. And life will give you everything you need to be able to do that. But this can be a month that really, really feels liberating in so many ways, especially when it comes to love, relationships, again, how you show up to love, how you feel about love, all those things. I pulled an animal wisdom message for you all, and you got cat energy. And it's so interesting because the key theme this month for you all is around relationships. And again, like that vibration of love. But cat energy is all about like independence. And so I think with this coming through, especially with this 6th vibration, it's more so around like boundaries, right? Or having those standards and recognizing that you deserve respect. You deserve an equal exchange of energy. You deserve to take up space. You deserve to feel supported and celebrated and loved without expectations or conditions, all of these things. And where you're not receiving that, where you're not getting that, that's where this energy is helping you to break free from that. And it doesn't mean just it's going to happen overnight. It doesn't mean that, again, you have to block that person or ghost them or whatever. It just means you can start to take steps towards something healthier, something more aligned, something more, again, based on that equal exchange of energy. So be like the cat this month. Be very, stand firm in your knowing of what you deserve, your worthiness. Like cats know their worthiness. And if you tread on that, look out. So yeah, it's about recognizing that not only, what you deserve, but what other people deserve and making space for that. Beautiful month 3s. I hope it's a great one. Take care. Bye for now. Life path number 4. So we're going to be working with the vibration of the 16-7 throughout December. And this 16-7 is an intense energy. So this is an intense cycle that we can be moving throughout December as we prepare for stepping into the new year and getting our ducks in a row for what it is that we want to, see occur in 2026, what we want to achieve, all those things. The 16-7 has the potential to make things very, very like undeniably clear. So this undeniable clarity can absolutely come in this month. And then the question becomes, what will we do with that clarity? So the path becomes very clear. So what will we do? Will we choose to follow that path, or will we stick to or cling to the path that we know, the one that feels safe, the one that we've committed to, the one that we've been loyal to, even though it's not serving? So this could be a month, a very pivotal month when it comes to changing direction. And that can be something really hard for 4s. 4s tend to be very steadfast, right? So it's like when we commit to something, we are committed. And when we're loyal to something, we are loyal. And so it can be hard to shift gears or to move in a different direction, especially if we have invested a lot of time, energy, resources, etc., into that path that we're currently on, and then the universe is like, hey, we're going to shift gears. That can be difficult for 4s. But as we move through this 16-7 cycle, it can really help us to see where the new path lies and the old path is no longer for us. And if we continue on the old path, then we're sort of contributing towards and working to build someone else's dream that is not our own. And this new path that the 16-7 could open up for us is very much aligned with our greater purpose and our sense of who we are at this moment. So pay attention to where it is that the universe is asking you to pivot, where it is that something has reached its expiration date or is no longer serving you or the higher good for all involved, and where it's time to shift gears, or where it is to have a different perspective or take a different approach when it comes to building on whatever it is that you've already built. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to shift gears this month. It just means you have to recognize if it's time to, and then decide to take the action in the new direction. But it could very well be that it's just about building upon what you've already built and recognizing that, that clarity will show you how to do that. Ultimately, the 16-7 has the power to bring in that greater aha moment, right? That sense of clarity, that spiritual awakening at times. I mean, it can be a really intense energy to move through, and it helps us to learn the truth of the situation, whether we want to see it or not. And once we're sort of awakened to that truth of the situation, then we can take action that's aligned with that truth. The other thing with the 16-7 is there's a really strong spiritual component to this energy. And so, and the 4 is very spiritual as well. It's very intuitive. It's very heart-led, or it's meant to be. A lot of times that gets overlooked when we're talking about 4 energy, but it's an incredibly spiritual and incredibly connected energy. But there's a strong depth to, a deep depth to the 4. And the 16-7 helps you to tap into that. So this is a cycle where sort of your subconscious could be urging you through experiences that you may have to awaken to that inner spiritual self, the real you, that real I am. And it's there sort of, sometimes we have to move through like extreme pressure in order to find it or to connect to it. But it's there that you will get that illuminating flash of insight that can lead you to the solution or to the new path or to the next step or whatever that may be. Because you're not meant to just be having this 3D physical experience. You're meant to be very much connected to your intuition, especially as a 4, to the unseen, to help that to guide you along your path, etc. And it's not about religion, it's about spirituality and connecting to the spirit within. And the 16-7 can help you to do that. So it's very possible that, again, the unforeseen and sort of sudden events of this period can help to shake us out of any, existing conditions or belief systems or any behaviors or patterns that have been keeping us stuck or have been keeping us in the box and keeping us from seeing what's really truly available for us when we put our mind to it. And sometimes that means switching direction. So again, undeniable clarity could come in this month. It's what you choose to do with that clarity that will make the difference. And you absolutely need to be in touch with your intuition, your inner knowing, that sixth sense, and trust it. And if you listen to that, which can give you generous advice, then you can start to formulate the plans that you can implement in the year to follow, right? In 2026. So this is like a planning stage that you will figure out what you need to plan and what that looks like from the awareness that could come in this month. So pay attention to what people say, how you feel about something, how you feel about a direction that you're moving in. Is it the direction you want to keep moving in? If so, great. But if you're only doing that because of perceived obligation or loyalty or commitment, this could be a month that really throws sort of a wrench in your plans. And it's helping you to see that there is a different way and a better way. Now, I pulled an animal wisdom message for us and we got hawk energy. And this is like perfect because, with hawk energy, it's that graceful persistence, but it's also seeing things very clearly, right? With hawk eyes, hawks have very precision, accurate sight. And so there's something here for this month for 4s to be able to see very clearly. And then you can decide what kind of action you want to take from that clarity. That's really the goal this month. So, and take your time. You don't have to rush it. You don't have to do anything except for recognize what the universe is trying to show you and then decide what kind of action you want to take from that clarity. So I hope it's a great one. Take care, 4s. Bye for now. Life path number 5, you all are going to be working with the vibration of the 17-8. This is a super benefic energy and a beautiful cycle to move through, especially at the end of the year as we close things out. This is a time where you could see blessings come in, support, guidance, achievements, fulfillments. So I would say definitely check your self-talk, check your feelings of worth, and make sure that you're not sort of keeping things at bay that want to come in for you to celebrate you because you don't feel worthy of them. And what I mean by that is, love could come in for us, but if we don't feel worthy of love, then we're going to fight that subconsciously even, and find ways to sabotage it because we don't feel worthy of it. So wherever the goodness wants to come in for you this month, wherever it is that you're kind of pushing against it because you don't feel worthy, this is a great month to kind of explore that a little bit more and find ways to kind of overcome that negative self-talk that's keeping you from experiencing the goodness because it wants to come in for you this month. Also, this is a time for greater revelations. You could get some beautiful insights, new ideas coming in. Someone may say something that just puts all the puzzle pieces together. If there was something that you were working towards a greater solution for, you could find that this month. And that can help you to finish that up, get it off your plate, and move forward from whatever it was that you were kind of stuck with or stuck on. This is a month where I would say, ask yourself the questions and then seek the answers with open-mindedness, curiosity, and without sort of a preconceived notion of how things should look or be. A lot of surprises could come in for you this month through people, places, things, or even like those like sort of downloads that you might get through your dreams or through your daydreams or just through your imagination. So pay attention to what comes in that's trying to open you up to possibly a new path, a new opportunity come 2026. Good fortune. This is a money vibration because ultimately it's 8 energy. So you could see some kind of bonus come in or some kind of payout for something that you've been working on or something that you've done. An increase in finances could come in. For some of you, you might win some money. So if you're playing the lottery or something like that, inheritance also falls under this. So money is on the mind. Also career or like your personal contributions, like so how you contribute in the world doesn't have to be for money or doesn't have to be career wise if you're someone who doesn't work. But this is such a beautiful month, especially for a 5, to continue to find those creative outlets, whether it's just for the sake of doing something creative or if it's to contribute it in some way. So maybe you're, contributing towards some kind of philanthropy or something like that, right? Where you're sharing your creativity, your time, your resources in order to uplift, empower, inspire others in some way. But there's a focus on your expertise and how you share that and why. And so there you could be looking at that this month, and you could stumble across some new ways of sharing that, not only that expertise, but your creativity. Travel, and this is a big one for 5s. Travel this month could be just really, really enjoyable and open you up to some beautiful things and possibly some new opportunities. If you have an opportunity to take a trip, I would say go for it, especially if it's for pleasure. If you have any kind of like chronic health condition that you've been dealing with, you could find, and this isn't medical advice, but you could find some kind of greater solution to help you to manage that, or you could find that things are kind of clearing up and getting, being alleviated at this time. It's just such a benefic energy to help to put the wind back in your sails. So where it is that maybe you've been feeling like you just haven't been able to make things happen, this energy can come in and it can happen as if by magic. So it's incredibly beautiful. This also has the potential to reveal secrets, to bring things to light. And so you could find some things out that might be a little bit shocking, but that can also help you in some way, help to liberate you in some way, help to free you up in some way, whether it's the thoughts that you've had on loop or whether it's the actions you've been taking. The secrets being revealed, that clarity being revealed can be very helpful in helping you to move forward. I would definitely say, and I talked about this at the beginning, definitely pay attention to any doubts that creep in, or again, any of those self-defeating thoughts that sometimes we tend to have on loop. This is a great month to just nip those in the bud and to silence them in whatever ways work for you. And sometimes, the best way to kind of overcome the doubt or the lack of confidence or whatever is to do the thing. So if there's something you really want to try or do, this is such a supportive month to do it. that I would just say, go for it. Take the risk, take the leap of faith. And in doing so, you will prove to yourself that you are capable of doing it, and you'll overcome that doubt through the action of doing the thing. Oftentimes we're our own worst enemy. And so when we can kind of prove to ourselves that, yeah, I am worthy. Yeah, I am capable. Yeah, I do feel confident in this. It's because we've done the thing and we've showed ourselves like, oh yeah, that wasn't so bad. Or, okay, it didn't work out the way that I wanted it to, but I survived and I was able to overcome the challenge that was presented. So sometimes we just have to do the thing to prove to ourselves that we can do the thing. Ultimately, this is a beautiful month for launches, for trying new things, for putting yourself out there, for, again, marketing yourself, for taking that risk or that leap of faith. And yeah, just getting started. Take the first step and then take the next step. This is a great month for that. I pulled an animal wisdom message for you, and you got horse energy. And typically when I think of 5 energy, I think of horses, and especially like wild horses, because of the freedom and the liberation and sort of that rebellious kind of energy. But with horse energy coming through today, there's this presence with horses. They're very present in the present moment. And so I think some of that is going to be very much needed this month for you all. It's very easy to get sort of like caught up in the future or thinking about what you want to achieve or do or be a part of or whatever, that you lose sight of what's happening right now, of what's needed right now in order to make that happen. You know, what is the strategy? What is the plan? What are the steps that are needed in order to make it happen? And sometimes when we're too focused on the future or what we want or the possibilities, it can feel really overwhelming, and it can feel like it can get really like, okay, we can't make that happen. I'm not good enough, blah, 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 whatever. So when we bring it back to the present moment and like what we're working with right now, what's needed right now, what's the plan, then we're like so much more equipped to take that first step, take the next step, and keep taking steps until eventually we find ourselves at the finish line, at the goal. Without feeling that overwhelm or without getting like overly frustrated and putting it down too quickly. So there's definitely something here with horse energy coming through. And I think this is important for 5s as well, because 5s can definitely get caught up in the bigger picture, right? Like the future, and it's a very progressive type of energy, fast moving energy. And so sometimes to be present in your body can be difficult because your head's in the clouds type of thing. But the horse energy coming through is that reminder that in order to feel that success or to gain that momentum or to reach your goals, you have to be very present in tackling what needs to be tackled in order to do so. And you'll get there. You might not get there as quickly as you want to, but you'll get there in a way that's much more sustainable. And looking back, you'll be able to see how you've built something sustainable. So bring it back to the present moment, see what you're working with, overcome those fears or that self-doubt or whatever in that moment, and that will equip you for the long haul, for getting to the finish line and being satisfied with what you've achieved once you get there. So really beautiful energy for you all throughout December. I hope it's a great one. Take care. Bye for now. Life path number 6, as we close out 2025 and as you move through December, preparing for 2026, you're going to be working with the vibration of the 18-9. And anytime we move through a cycle of the 18-9, it can be a sensitive cycle where, we're just getting to the deeper core parts of ourselves that may need some healing, may need some TLC, may need some additional care or attention. But it can also bring up areas where we might need to be there to help others on their healing journey. So maybe there's words of wisdom or advice or care that we can offer to another in order to sort of lighten the load of their journey, make it a little bit less difficult, and to help them on that healing process. So you could see that people might need you a little bit more this cycle. Or again, you have something that can really assist them in some way, whether it's just your lived experience and you're sharing that, or it's the knowledge from your schooling or whatever. But there's potential for other people coming to you for that healing, that assistance, that support at this time, which is nothing new for sixes. This is such a big part of your life path anyway. But there is an emphasis this month, especially on shifting the focus outwards. And it's in that shift that anything that you have been struggling with or trying to work through or find the solution of, you might find that through your work with others at this time, or again, helping others in some way find the solutions to their problems. And it could open you up to the solution of your own. And so it can be very beneficial in that way. Beautiful month for volunteer work, sharing your time, money, resources in a way that can help or benefit others in some way. It's not that you want to ignore yourself or your needs, obviously, that's a no-no, but you want to, this month especially, just shift the focus elsewhere, like on others and how you can be of assistance. And again, not only will that likely bring significant fulfillment, but it will likely bring the answers to the questions that you've been asking for yourself. The other thing with this cycle is, aside from it being sort of a healing cycle, like it's going to ask you to, slow down, to see where it is that, you need to pay attention to your body more. What does your body need? What is it asking you for? And a lot of times our body asks us for what it needs through the aches and pains, or through, the slowing down or the fatigue or whatever. And so pay attention. It might mean that you need more exercise or more time outdoors, or more time for play, where the burden just doesn't feel as heavy, and you can play in your imagination and sort of disconnect for a little while. Look at your diet. Make sure that you're eating in a way that fuels you and that feels good. And sleep. Are you getting enough sleep? These are things that could come up for you this month to take a closer look at and see where you can make sure that not only are you listening to your body, but you're giving it what it needs and what it's asking for. Pay attention to your dreams during this cycle. This is a 9 cycle, and so the veil is thin. And so what comes in through your imagination, through your dreams, through your daydreams, could hold significant messages for what you're being asked to pay attention to, especially as we enter into an entirely new energy of 2026 in just a few short weeks. The other thing I would say here is, if there are things that you are working on or have been working on, or maybe you are picking back up at this time, this is a time to get back to it, finish it up, get it completed. It would be so great to get those things completed and off your desk, or, out of the way, clear the clutter. What a great feeling it would be to get all of that out of the way and taken care of before you close out 2025 in the few short weeks that we have in December. This is a time to, if you're having new ideas or new projects come in, or new opportunities, this isn't necessarily the month to get started on that. Again, there's so many closing things out this month, just energetically. Again, as we're closing out 2025 and entering into 2026 in a few weeks. So this isn't necessarily the time, I would say, to start something new, to throw yourself into something new. This is a time for slowing down, finishing up what you need to finish up, taking care of what needs taken care of, helping others to do that as well, and then planning or focusing on what it is that you want to initiate or begin come 2026 as you begin that next cycle. So this is such a beautiful time to just slow down and take your time and not try to rush through things, but make sure that you're finding that equilibrium, that balance this month. But yeah, as I stated, this is just such a beautiful time and great cycle to get organized, clear the clutter, whether it's cleaning your house, organizing your desk, cleaning out your closet, just going through the things that you haven't used for some time and giving it to others, circulating it in some way, and being very honest about, not, I might use it in 10 years. No, if you haven't used it in 2 years or a year, you're probably not going to. So let it serve its purpose somewhere else, because it's no longer serving a purpose for you. So release it, let it go. And I think you'll find that clearing that clutter will feel so much better. So yeah, great time for that as well. I pulled an animal wisdom message for you all, and it's interesting because you got squirrel energy. And this actually aligns with the 9 energy really, really well, because when I think of squirrels, I think of like preparation. And there's several squirrels in my backyard right now that are preparing for winter by hiding their nuts and their food and whatnot. And so there's this energy of, for December, doing the things that will help you better prepare or be better prepared for what it is that you want to address or achieve in 2026. So use this time to get your ducks in a row. Again, get organized, make sure that you have what you need in order to start this next new big adventure in a few weeks. But it's about preparation. And so sometimes that preparation means, again, slowing down and taking time for rest, taking time for rejuvenation so that you have the energy and you feel ready to tackle whatever comes your way in just a few weeks. Again, once we enter that brand new energy of 2026. So use this time wisely, stop procrastinating when it comes to, again, moving through the clutter, getting things to where it feels good, where your environment feels good, beautify your space and beautify your mind and your body and whatever else needs beautifying at this time. But put your focus there and put your energy there, and it will prepare you for having the energy and the mindset to make 2026 a great year. So I hope it's a great one. I hope December treats you well, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Life path number 7, you are going to be working with the vibration of the 19-1 throughout December. And the 19-1 is karmic. And so you could be tying up some karmic relationships or experiences this month, or you could be entering into new ones at this time. The 19-1 is about big, bold, new beginnings. So you could see that new opportunities come your way, new chapters, or even like maybe you finished that chapter or that book and you're starting a new book come 2026. And so you could see a new path being open for you at this time, whether, again, it's in a relationship or career, your health, belief systems and values, however it comes in for you. But some area of life is you're being prepared for some significant new beginnings, new opportunities. And so, of course, your job is to say yes to those as they find you. This is a cycle where really it's a love vibration, and that love vibration, because that 9 is involved there, it can feel like a soulmate kind of connection, a deep connection. There's likely karma there, and karma doesn't always have to be difficult to move through, but there will be some greater lessons there to be learned by both parties. But this is like a soul contract kind of love if it comes in for you at this time, and it's meant to teach you something and potentially can teach you how to truly love yourself, love others, receive love, etc. So it can be incredibly beautiful. But ultimately, new beginnings, new ways of looking at things, maybe a new way to approach something differently, and then get different results. The 19 is a beautiful vibration for taking relationships to the next level. Marriage under this vibration can be really fortunate and bring fulfillment. Happiness and contentment are enhanced, and new opportunities, again, to create some kind of greater fortune in the material world is very possible under this cycle. There could also be reunions at this time, so connecting with friends who you haven't seen in a while, or family, even maybe a past partner or something like that could resurface at this time to maybe clear up some karma, heal something within that connection. Whether or not the two of you connect again, and it doesn't have to be in a romantic way, but it could be in a way where it feels much healthier, much better. Maybe you could end things in a much healthier way. That's possible under this vibration. So again, a new beginning with that energy between the two of you. The new beginnings or the new opportunities that present for you at this time throughout December asking you to say yes to them could create some kind of feeling of greater liberation, greater freedom that could lead you to some kind of greater prosperity. So you could find that your energy is high, you feel driven, you feel ambitious, you feel ready to like take the next step to make things happen. And I would say follow that motivation, see where it takes you, because this is such a beautiful month, even though we're like closing out a year. So there's a lot of like closure in December, just naturally with the energy, but you all are starting something, and it's potentially something big that can really open you up to so many opportunities come 2026. So again, pay attention to the insights and inspirations and downloads and the meetings and the connections that you make this month, because they could play a key role in things to come in 2026. This energy, though it is also a love vibration, is also pushing you towards greater independence and taking charge, taking greater risks when it comes to certain areas of your life, and making things happen, like taking the reins back within your life, again, in certain areas where maybe you keep giving your power away or over to another person. This is your opportunity to take that power back. Sharing your ideas, being expressive, having a vision and moving towards or figuring out how to create that vision. You are the visionary this month. And so what do you want, and how do you have to do, what decisions and actions do you need to take in order to make that happen? The spotlight is on you this month. So you are the star. So figure out, how you want to shine and what message you want to put out there and how you want to contribute and all those things. I would say one thing that you need to kind of contend with this month is going to be impulsivity. Be really mindful about being overly impulsive. Taking risks, yes, but let them be calculated risks. Make sure you're preparing. Make sure you're taking your time, that you're pacing yourself. Anything that you are overly impulsive with or throw yourself into 100% without kind of thinking about it, which would be a little rare, I guess, for sevens. I mean, sevens usually are more hesitant to be overly impulsive like that, but of course it depends what else is in your chart. Anyway, just be mindful of being overly impulsive or throwing yourself completely into something or someone, right? Because you will lose that sense of self, and you will maybe have buyer's remorse down the road. So you just want to make sure that you are keeping a level head with all these new beginnings possibly coming in, all these opportunities, all this big energy. It's easy to lose yourself in it. So, indulge, but don't overly indulge, if that makes sense. Just take your time. Keep a level head on your shoulders and you'll be fine. The other thing I would say here is to, overcome that self-doubt. Especially with sevens, self-doubt can come in a lot. Check your worthiness, check your value and your beliefs about that, and overcome that self-doubt. And sometimes in order to overcome it, we have to put ourselves in the situation to show ourselves that we're capable, that we're worthy, and all those things. And we have to have the experience. So just pay attention to your mindset and don't actively choose to go down the rabbit hole that you don't need to be going down when it comes to relationships or your health or career or whatever. Keep your head on your shoulders. Don't go down those rabbit holes unless you definitely feel called to, because it can create storylines. It can create just things that will just convolute the whole situation. And then it will make it more likely for you to say no to it. And you're definitely meant to find your courage and have faith in the opportunities that are presenting at this time, and have courage and faith in yourself to be able to achieve whatever you put your mind to this month and as you move into 2026. I pulled an animal wisdom message for you, and you got dragonfly energy. And so it was interesting because, with dragonfly, obviously we can get change. And I think this strong one energy, like you basically have double ones here, can bring a lot of shifts and change through the risks that you take, through the opportunities you say yes to. But there's also this need for greater balance with dragonfly coming through. And if you've ever kind of seen dragonflies in the wild, they fly, but they hover sometimes. And it's in that hovering, it's like they have great balance, but they're kind of taking in the moment. I mean, metaphorically speaking. And so there is this, with all these big new beginnings potentially coming in and opportunities and all of that, there is this very strong need, which goes back to the impulsivity and the need to not be impulsive or overly impulsive. There's this need to be very present and very grounded. Like, keep your head in the clouds, sure, but like keep your feet planted on the ground and maintain that balance. All things in moderation. Like, just take your time and pace yourself. This is an energy of the 19-1 that can be like highly combustible. So like you can just go like all in and burn up all the fuel, within for a few days. And then you've got nothing left in your system for like the rest of the month. So just pace yourself, take your time. And again, I would say close off those rabbit holes. Don't go down them. It's not worth it. Just be very present, see what presents to you, decide how you want to work with it, be discerning, all those things. Follow your intuition, and you'll be fine. But that greater balance is definitely needed. So take your time. There's absolutely no need to rush. All right, I hope it's a great one. Take care, sevens. Bye for now. Life path number 8, you all are going to be working with a vibration of the 22, so 202 throughout the month of December. So you've got some decisions to make, decisions. And as you're faced with making those decisions, you're being asked to trust yourself. What are you saying yes to? What are you saying no to? And why? So this month is about deciding, making the decision, and then getting started, taking the step, taking the action in the direction of that decision. It could feel very tempting at times to ask others what you should do and seek out that advice. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with getting the perspective of another, or again, asking for that advice. But when you're in this cycle throughout December, it's going to be really, really important that you continue to come back to yourself, and that you're not looking for that validation or that direction from the external, right? So you are meant to find your courage this month and make the decision that works for you in this moment, or that's best for your situation in this moment, and then stick to it, follow through, and see how it turns out, right? And face the consequences. There's consequences of every single action that we take. And it's important that we recognize that the consequences are directly aligned with our decisions. So if we're asking other people what we should do, then a lot of times, if we take that advice, fully without incorporating our own needs, our desires, what we want for ourselves, all those things, and using our own discernment, then what happens is we are building something that doesn't fully belong or align with us, or doesn't fully fit. And it would be easy to then blame the other person when it doesn't work out, or it doesn't turn out the way that we had hoped it would. But how would it turn out how we hoped it would if we're not following our own advice when it comes to making the decision? So we will have consequences of any decision that we make. So it's really important that those decisions belong to us, because we're the ones that have to face the consequences of those decisions. And so anytime we move through a 22 cycle, it can remind us of that, and the importance of sort of drowning out the external noise. Again, there's nothing wrong with like asking for another perspective, because someone else might see something that you're not seeing, and they can bring that to light. But it's really, really important that when we're making decisions that affect our own life, that we are making those decisions based on our own desires and needs and what is best for our current situation. So this cycle is really going to ask you to weigh your options, be decisive, formulate a plan, and take some kind of action that will move you in the direction of that decision. And so you could find that there's been some things maybe that, you've known that you've had to make a decision about, but maybe you haven't felt ready, or there's been something kind of standing in the way of that. December could bring like the defining moment. A decision needs to be made. You need to make it happen. And through that decision-making process, or through making that decision, you could definitely see some turning points come in. Now, December is likely going to be used for, or meant to be used for, helping you to make the decision. And then taking the action will likely come in 2026 and moving forward. So use December wisely. Use it to, really get in touch with what it is that you want, like weigh your options, and then what you need to do in order to make that a reality, what you need to say yes to, what you need to say no to, and why. And gaining that greater understanding will help you to not only make the decision, but to formulate a plan and then take the action and follow through. But that whole process can create significant turning points within your life. You could see significant changes from these decisions come in. And I would also say be open to the emotions that may come from that. Because a lot of times when we're making a decision, we have to say yes to something and no to something else, or move towards something and maybe away from something else. And there can be some emotions tied to that, so honor that if they come up for you. This cycle, you could see sudden events that absolutely require a quick decision. That quick decision could create some kind of significant change within your experience. It could be a change of location, a new job, a new relationship, a new health program, you name it. So again, the decisions that you make in December could put you on a brand new path for 2026. And that can be a beautiful thing. And it will be a beautiful thing if those decisions are coming from you and not being easily influenced by the external or from external expectations or even your own expectations. So there's kind of a lot to work through to make sure that the decisions that you're making this month feel true for you, feel good for you, feel aligned. Now, because this month is asking for decisions to be made, if you fail to do that, sometimes it's difficult because, sometimes we're moving towards something and away from something else, and maybe we don't feel ready to move away from that other thing. So it can create, that fear or the procrastination of making the decision. But this is one of those energies where if you fail to make the decision, it can bring in a tremendous amount of restlessness, uneasiness, anxiety, frustration with the situation. It's not going to make things better. Let's put it that way. And it's kind of like the universe or your soul nudging you in a really kind of forceful way to go ahead and make the decision. It's time. The other thing I would say about the 22 is don't resist the need for change. Stay adaptable, use your common sense, and you'll come to that conclusion. You'll come to the decision that's best for you in this moment. Now, with saying all that, there's a lot of 2 energy here. So relationships are at the forefront. There's, how you connect with others. You could meet significant people that will help you to decide what is best for you. And I don't mean by them telling you. I mean by your experience with them will help you to see what's best for you in this moment and what's not best for you in this moment. Also, collaboration, connecting, healing connections comes up as well. Making a decision to heal a connection, being that bridge that will bring people together, finding greater balance. Ultimately, the goal is to find greater balance within your own life. And in order to do that, of course, sometimes we have to make difficult decisions. So there's a whole thing here about this. And being open to, again, what those decisions can bring in for you. So again, maybe you get a job offer in another country, but of course there's reasons why you'd be not afraid, but you might be hesitant of saying yes to that because you're going to have to say no or move away from what is known in your family and your friends or whatever, or the community that you've created where you currently live. But what lies on the other side could be a beautiful new adventure that can just, again, shift your life in so many ways if you say yes to it. But if you say no to it out of fear because you're not ready to make that decision yet, you could miss out on something really spectacular. So again, you just want to really take your time with this throughout the month. But those things that are asking you for some kind of a decision, this is the month to do it because everything will start to unfold as we enter into 2026 and as you move through 2026. It's a really beautiful energy. It all kind of hinges on you. I know that's a lot of pressure, but this is the time to be decisive. And not only be decisive, but start to figure out how you'll start to take action. I pulled an animal wisdom message for you all for December, and you got ladybug. So, I mean, this is such a beautiful energy. Of course, it brings in that energy of luck, but luck is truly something that we sort of create. And so, through our decisions. So you might see it as like, oh my gosh, I have this great opportunity. And then you say yes to it. And then so many beautiful things unfold for you. And you're like, I can't believe that all this is happening to me. But it wouldn't have happened if you wouldn't have made that decision to take the leap of faith, to go for it, because it felt good for you. It felt right for you. So what luck will you create for yourself through your decisions at this time? And it can also bring in, with ladybug energy, a tremendous amount of contentment and happiness and fulfillment and joy. So this is just a reminder, like, use ladybug as a reminder that the decisions you're making, if they're coming from you and they feel aligned and true for you, they are the right decision. 100%, no matter how things turn out. You can always pivot. You can always make different decisions down the road. But if you're making it from a place of your intuition, what feels right for you, what feels aligned for you, it's going to bring happiness and fulfillment and joy and luck because it's a part of you. It's you're creating it as you go through your decision and through your actions. So give yourself that power back. You don't have to rely on other people to tell you what you should do or how you should do it. Advice is great, but at the end of the day, the decision needs to come from you. All right. I hope it's a great one. Take care. Bye for now. Life path number 9. So you are closing out 2025 with such a fun, spontaneous, joyful energy of the 21-3. This is a time to, take this month to let your hair down, to be spontaneous, to chase your joy, to create the joy within your life, to give yourself permission to do the things that bring you joy just for the sake of doing them, to take a risk, but a risk that feels fun and invigorating and exciting. Let your guard down a little bit and use your imagination. Play within your imagination, connect with your inner child, really tap into the core essence of who you are and find ways to express that this month. And that will bring you so much joy, and it will potentially open you up to new opportunities, new ideas, new inspirations for what you want to achieve or the goals you want to set for yourself for 2026. So this is also a cycle that can be an opportunity to, close things out, release the old belief systems that aren't working for you anymore, that are maybe sabotaging you or holding you back, and make way for the new. And the way that you'll discover the new is through that imagination, through the exploration, through doing the things that bring you joy. And if you don't know what brings you joy, this is such a perfect month to get out and try new things. And you will likely stumble upon new things that bring you new joy. And this kind of like newly revealed world can offer so much opportunity and greater realization for how you will achieve your greater plans and hopes and wishes come 2026. So do not overlook the opportunities that come your way now. And many of those opportunities you'll discover through, again, throwing caution to the wind a bit and just living, like enjoying life, finding ways to find the joy or create the joy within your life. With 9s, life can be serious a lot of the times, or you can feel that pressure a lot of the times. And so when you move through a cycle like the 21-3, it's giving you an opportunity to lay down the burden. You're a 9, you're probably going to pick it back up. But for this month, put it down and just allow yourself the time and the space and give yourself permission to do the things that make you happy. And, of course, we all have obligations. So once you satisfy those obligations, give yourself that permission to do the things that make you happy. Not about making others happy, not about, showing up of service or any of those things. In your downtime and the time that you have allotted for yourself, be with yourself. Give yourself permission to say yes to the things you've wanted to say yes to. Now, this is a cycle where plans that are already in progress could come to successful completion. You could see some rewards of that. So this can be a really rewarding and fulfilling time, a time for recognition also. Anytime we move through a 3 cycle, it can bring in that greater recognition for our creativity, our work, things where we've put ourselves out there. There could be some greater recognition for that. It doesn't have to be massive or huge, but it can feel rewarding. And so definitely celebrate that if that comes in for you this month. And those ideas or those plans that you've kind of been thinking about or you've been kind of mulling over, this is a time to get started on it. Because again, in a 3 cycle, the spotlight is on you. The support is there. The people, places, things could show up to help you to, tap into whatever this is and to make it happen. So if there's those things that you've been wanting to do, this is the time to get started, to make it happen, to do it. And the potential for success, whatever success means for you, is quite high under this vibration. This is an energy that promises success and completion of whatever you initiate now. So you might not see it in December, but what a great time to get started as we, close out the energy of 2025 and step into the energy of 2026. And you have another 12 months to put your energy and focus into whatever this is to bring it to life. Travel could come up around this with this energy. And if it's travel for fun, absolutely. Like this would be a great time to take a vacation or even just travel somewhere nearby that you haven't been before, but that can kind of ignite your passion or imagination and just to experience something new. This is such a great time for that. So if you get an opportunity to do that, go for it. This is a wonderful time for tapping into things and experiences that will bring in greater freedom of expression. Self-expression is very much highlighted under this cycle. So finding those outlets, finding those ways to express your creativity, to express you in a way maybe that you haven't been, can bring a tremendous amount of pleasure and fulfillment into your life. And this is a time that you want to tap into that and say yes to it. Change of jobs, change of residence could come up at this time. Change in relationships could come up this time for some of you. Connecting with new people, meeting new people, collaborating, finding ways to express yourself or your creativity in a new way could come up at this time. So again, it's about saying yes to that and not being too concerned about what the outcome will be, but more about how it will feel through the act of that expression. So many beautiful opportunities for fulfilling your future dreams, right? So getting started now to fulfill those goals. So this would be, because it's that 3 energy, it can bring in social energy as well. So again, connecting with others, collaborating, etc. You could meet some very interesting people now. And these people could be in your life for quite some time or could be supportive in helping you to achieve the things you're looking to achieve. So definitely be open to the people that you meet. They could be very different. They could look different or be from a different culture or have different points of view that might be very different from your own, but that can bring in a lot of deliciousness. So it's definitely worth connecting and collaborating and brainstorming and just seeing where life takes you. Also could connect with someone who, again, will be in your life for quite some time. So it could be a romantic partner, a new friend, a work colleague, a business partnership, something like that. So yeah, this cycle can be very, very rewarding, or at least start to set the stage for the opportunity for it to be very rewarding come 2026. And it can kind of get you set up to realize some of those greater opportunities, opening you up to fulfilling some of those greater goals. So love this for you all. Definitely would say throughout this cycle, do not dismiss opportunities too quickly. Don't judge a book by its cover. That's kind of the mantra this month. And don't be too quick to say no out of self-doubt or fear or whatever. Make sure you work through any of those emotions that might come up for you. Also pay attention to your emotions because this is a fast-moving energy. It's a big energy. And so you might find that people's emotions are running hot, or maybe yours are. And so just try not to be too reactive. Take your time in responding, and then you'll get the results that you hope to see. I pulled an animal wisdom message for you all, and you got salmon energy. This was interesting because it reminds me of, like the salmon going back to the place where they were born to spawn. And so there's something here about following your instincts, following your guidance, following what you know to be true, following that inner compass when it comes to making decisions and making sure that you are making it from a place of your inner intuition or inner knowing and not from fear, like fear of something happening, so you say no to it, or fear of not knowing, so you say no to it. If something keeps showing up for you, keeps coming in for you, and you keep feeling drawn towards it, that's your indicator to explore it, to ask questions, to dive deeper, and to follow your intuition every step of the way. With salmon energy coming through, like you already know what to do. You just have to follow that guidance because there's a wealth of wisdom attached to your intuition. You just have to kind of override the ego and listen to what your intuition is trying to tell you. Because sometimes our intuition, or a lot of times our intuition, will take us down roads that we would not have gone down because the ego is too focused on trying to keep us, quote unquote, safe. But what the ego thinks is safe and what the soul knows to be safe are two very different things. So sometimes when we override the soul and listen to the ego, it can keep us from taking those risks or doing something new or going down that new path that we really want to go down. And with salmon energy coming through, it's that reminder to, in those moments of making decisions, or again, when the opportunities present and you're deciding what to do, override the ego and say yes to the soul and follow the intuition, because it's going to take you down some really funky paths, but those funky paths are going to bring you to, places that you never could have imagined you would experience, and they'll be for the better. So it's worth it. So listen to that calling of your soul this month and see where it takes you. I can pretty much guarantee that you won't be disappointed. So I hope it's a great one. Take care. Bye for now. Life Path 11-2, you all are going to be working with a vibration of the 23-5 throughout December. And this can be a very disruptive, very kind of rebellious type of energy when we move through it in a cycle. It's kind of that rebel without a cause type of energy that's sort of pushing you to step out of your typical routine or any area of life that kind of needs a shakeup, or any area where you're being asked to maybe take an unconventional approach or a different approach than you would normally take. This is such a great month to do that and to kind of focus on that. So this is an energy that says, don't overthink it, throw caution to the wind and see where the wind takes you. And sort of in that process, again, it might feel a little out of your comfort zone. It might feel a little disruptive. But again, anytime we move through a 5 cycle, it's looking to shake up what needs shaking up. It's looking to shake us out of some kind of rut or anything that we've just been kind of going through the motions of and getting the same results, even though we don't like those results. This energy is helping to help us to see where that is and where we are meant to take some kind of a risk, where we're meant to sort of throw that caution to the wind and try something new, try something different, and see again how it shifts, how it works out for us. Because this kind of goes back to that saying of if you don't try, you'll never know. And so if you're too caught up in, what feels comfortable or what feels known, then you're never going to explore or stumble upon those new exciting adventures that could absolutely bring some significant inspiration into your life. So 5 cycles help us to, again, get outside of our comfort zone, do things differently, have a different approach, try something that maybe we've always wanted to try, but have been, had fear around trying, or again, kind of stuck in the known. So you could see that show up this month, and I would say go for it. There is likely going to be, because again, you're working with the vibration of the 2 and the 3. So we can be looking at relationships here. We can be looking at creativity, how you contribute in the world, how you share your gifts. And there's meant to be some kind of shift, some kind of change that will help you to express yourself, because personal self-expression, creative self-expression are very much highlighted this month for you all. But it's meant you're meant to explore that, and you're meant to explore those outlets to see what are your options, and try it. Be curious, go down the rabbit hole, and again, see where it takes you. Because you could absolutely discover a whole new world that's been sitting there waiting for you to discover it all this time, but you've been kind of sitting in the known and what feels quote unquote safe, when in reality it's just keeping you stuck. So 5 cycles help to get us out of that rut and push us towards something where we can, again, express ourselves authentically and to experience life with all of our senses. And sometimes that means being vulnerable. Sometimes that means putting ourselves out there in a way that will feel uncomfortable, but that's how we're going to get the greatest results. And that's also where we're going to prove to ourselves and gain that confidence that we can do it. And even if it doesn't work out or it doesn't turn out the way that we had wanted, we'll be able to prove to ourselves that we can overcome that, we can handle it, whether it goes our way or it doesn't. So there's a lot here about creativity and self-expression and putting yourself out there, taking that risk. Now, this is also a really protective cycle, meaning that there are protective forces around you as you step out on the next rung of this ladder. And, your soul is not setting you up for failure here. So go for it. Follow the advice that you might get from people who have been down this road before, or people who are in positions to be able to help you to understand what's needed as you walk down this new path. So seeking out a mentor or, like a teacher, or just asking for other people's perspectives can help you to understand, again, like what's realistically needed. Because when we're talking about like 5 energy, for sure, it can be very fast moving. So it's easy to get caught up in that vibration. And so, we get the idea, it feels exciting, and so we go for it. But we kind of overlook the reality of what it's actually going to take to, make it happen, how long it could take, who we need to collaborate with, all these things. And so this is such a beautiful cycle when you know like what it is that you want to pursue, then to seek out people who have been down that road before. And your experience will be different because it's your experience, but at least you'll have kind of an idea of what to expect or what's possible along that path. So follow the advice that you receive at this time. Don't get too stuck in your pride and thinking you know it all, because we don't know it all. There's certainly many areas of life that we couldn't possibly know everything that there is to know. So this is a good month to gain that expertise from people who have worked for it and gathered it along their path. This is also a time where you could see some kind of influx with money or material goods through some kind of legal proceeding. Now, obviously, this is very specific, so it probably won't pertain to everybody, but like inheritance, or again, if there's some kind of legal proceeding that you've been moving through, you could see settlement this month and kind of gain some kind of, I don't want to say reward, but some kind of settlement. The other thing I would say is under a 23/5 cycle, contracts come into focus here. And because there's that 2 and that 3 vibration, this brings in other people. So it is possible that you could meet someone, you could enter into some kind of business partnership or some kind of contract, which could alter your life in some way. It could be a turning point in your life in some way. And sometimes these contracts could require, I don't want to say like a quick decision, but there might be like, okay, we need your answer on this by X, Y, and Z. There could be some kind of deadline there. And this is where I go back to that. Don't overthink it. Now, obviously do your due diligence, make sure that you're getting, legal advice and all that. But don't let the kind of going down the rabbit hole too far and overthinking it and creating the stories and getting caught up in maybe the fear of what could happen deter you from this opportunity. So if it feels right, if the contract looks good, it has your best interest in heart, then go for it. as long as everything looks good and you feel good about it. What I'm trying to say is don't talk yourself out of something because of fear or lack of confidence or, the stories that we tell ourselves. Marriage could also come up under this cycle. So if you're getting married this month, this is a really favorable period for that. So first of all, congratulations. And second of all, this is a cycle. If you get married under this cycle, that could be, could be a long-term thing. But the changes that come in at this time could bring about, again, like connecting with others, connecting with people who are different from you, who have different perspectives, different cultures even. Travel comes up under this cycle. So if you have an opportunity to travel, especially for fun, especially to experience, a different landscape or different cultures or different people, this is such a beautiful cycle to do that. And it could bring in a tremendous amount of fulfillment and joy and pleasure. And also it could bring in opportunities to connect with people that share similar vision, a similar vision or similar values, and you could create something together that could lead to, enhancing your finances in some way. And if opposition shows up or competition, just be careful about how you engage in that. Is it worth your energy? And likely it's probably not. Any kind of opposition or, again, that competition is it's not serving anything. It doesn't lead to anything productive or constructive. So I would say choose how you engage wisely. I pulled an animal wisdom message for you all, and you got vulture energy. And this is so interesting because, vultures kind of get a bad rap, and it's interesting because they are so needed. They are basically the cleanup crew that come in and make sure that everything, on Earth stays clean and tidy. But their work is often undervalued or misunderstood. They're a very misunderstood creature. And again, a lot of people don't see the value in vultures. And so there's definitely something here where you want to sort of drown out that external noise, again, with the opposition or the competition that comes in for you at this time, but also the self-defeating thoughts that you might be having about yourself. Where again you believe that your contribution doesn't have value, or that you don't deserve the success or whatever. So there's an opportunity with vulture energy coming through here to remember your worth, to remember your value. And we all of our gifts, all of that light that we each came here to shine has value. It's needed in the world. It's the ingredient that will contribute towards baking the most delicious cake in the world. But we have to share those gifts in order for them to be received. But I would say with this energy, there's definitely something here about remembering your worth and remembering your value, and to not overlook that or be easily convinced that what you have to contribute does not hold value, because it absolutely does. It serves a purpose in one way or another, just like the vulture serves a significant purpose in the circle of life. So I hope it's a great one, 11s. Take care. Bye for now. Life Path 22-4, we're going to be working with a vibration of the 34-7 throughout December. And this is one of those cycles that can bring in a significant amount of opportunities for greater growth and greater development, whether it's personal development or development with our careers, our business, relationships, however it shows up in your life. But this is an opportunity for that growth and that greater development. And what's beautiful about this is because it's that 7 cycle, there's sort of this intertwining of the mysteries of life. So integrating the material, the mental, the spiritual, being that bridge between the seen and the unseen. We become that bridge. And a lot of times what that sort of means is, having the idea or the inspiration or the concept, and finding very practical ways of turning that into something real, something tangible, bringing it to life. And as we move through a 7 cycle, things start to show up or have the potential to show up that can help us to do that. And so it might be that the ideas or the people, places, things come in this month that can help you to turn those dreams into reality in the coming year. That's very, very possible. You might not see, obviously, everything come to fruition this month, but you can get a really good grasp on what's needed to take that idea from the point of like concept to reality, to bring it to life, which is really beautiful given the fact that we are the master builders. So we are meant to do that. Whether it's taking someone else's inspiration and turning it into something, right? Bringing it to life, or if we're taking our own inspirations and turning that into life, or, bringing that to life. Because it's a 7 vibration though, there's a strong emphasis on the ideas or the vision or the inspirations that we have from, being that bridge. This can be a month where you are called to really tap into your inner knowing, your intuition, and truly follow that guidance. Obviously, let the information that's being presented to you inform, right? But don't neglect or negate that internal knowing. Force can sometimes override our intuition, but that's, it's such a big part of who we are. And so we are absolutely meant to be heart-led, intuitively led. And when we do that, and when we couple that again with the information that's being presented, then we make the most informed decisions that most align with our personal journey. So intuition, very, very strong this month. Those downloads, those ideas, all those things. So really important to not second guess what you know to be true. And by true, I'm not talking about like facts or information as far as like knowledge. I'm talking about that inner knowing. If something doesn't feel right, it's probably not for you. If it feels good, it probably is for you. So follow that. This is a beautiful cycle to flex that muscle. You could find that people come to you more this month for, or seek you out for your advice, for your wisdom. And this is a great opportunity to share that openly and willingly. This is also one of those cycles where, again, especially as a 22-4, this can be really rewarding because you can start to see some things coming to completion. You can start to see some of those rewards coming in that, again, are in direct proportion to the efforts that you've put forth. So you've done the work, now you're seeing the results. That's very possible. It can also feel like a very active period where, again, sort of hope gets reignited, the wind comes back in your sail. You start to kind of see that advancement, or that the doors open, maybe that were previously shut, that will help you to move towards some of your greater goals, especially as you move into 2026. You could receive some kind of notice or communication that can help to, again, give you that key that helps to unlock the door. So it's kind of like all the ingredients coming together to help you to build whatever it is that you're looking to build, or to help you to be that bridge to bring the idea to life in some way. And again, not necessarily going to happen overnight or in December, but there's the possibility for this, like the wheels to be set in motion this month, which can feel really, really good as a 22-4. One thing I will say is be really mindful of not being overly selfish or being impatient, impulsive, or reckless with your actions, with your words, with, what you're putting out into the world, or how you're sort of engaging, because that can kind of really put a sort of a wrench in the work of all the progress you're likely to make this month. And so just take your time, we know this. We know that we need patience, and that's such a big part of, such a keynote for the 22-4 and 4s in general. So this is a great month, again, to flex that muscle as well as your intuitive muscle, and to not be too hasty, to keep your head on your shoulders, to continue to find that strategy or that plan that will help you to put all the pieces together in whatever area of life this shows up for you. And because that vibration of the 3 is in the equation, there's always that possibility for greater recognition, some kind of, again, you being tapped for some kind of promotion or something like that. And that can bring in added responsibility. And with that can come that added stress or feeling that pressure. And so as always, make sure that you're keeping things in check, keeping things in balance, not overworking, making sure that you're making ample time for rest and relaxation. This can ultimately be a really rewarding cycle. So it can feel fast-paced. So you just want to make sure that you are pacing yourself and not being too rash or, again, too impulsive. Because I think that's where we'll find the greatest buyer's remorse. We want to make sure that we're thinking things through and taking our time and putting all those puzzle pieces together to make sure that whatever it is that we're building is sustainable and hasn't been rushed through. So pay attention to the details as you're keeping your eye on the bigger picture. So I pulled an animal wisdom message for us, and we got alligator energy. And so what kind of came to mind here was that observant nature of the alligator or the crocodile, where, a lot of times, especially when they're like resting, they're still aware, they're still observant, as their eyes just kind of peek over the water when the rest of their body is submerged. But even when they're hunting, they're very observant before they strike. And so there's a deeper message here for 22/4s this month. And it goes back to that, like, pacing yourself and being observant before you say yes. Like, kind of standing back and looking at the bigger picture while also keeping in mind the finer details, but not jumping at the first offer, not jumping at the first opportunity. I'm not saying dismiss it too early, but do your due diligence, as I'm sure you will, and just make sure that everything looks good or feels right. Remember, going back to that intuition, feels right before you commit to it, whatever it may be. Because I feel like this month could have a lot of moving parts, and it would be easy to get caught up in all that. And so you just want to stay observant and keep your feet planted on the ground while your head's in the clouds. So I hope it's a great one. Take care, 22s. Bye for now. Life Path 33.6, you all are going to be working with a vibration of the 45.9. And this is a really lovely vibration to kind of close out 2025 with. It's going to push you to make some kind of greater commitment when it comes to some kind of shift or change within your life, an opportunity to release, but that will bring some kind of greater liberation and give you an opportunity to try something new or different that can bring in new and different results to that, to the experience. So your focus this month could likely shift more outwards. And through that sort of shifting your focus outwards onto others and assisting others and helping others, your answers to your questions or to your sort of problems will come. So you'll find those solutions through the act of being of service to others and helping others with their problems. So keep that in mind as you move through the month. If there's something that you feel stuck on, you're frustrated with, you don't know how to move forward, shift your focus onto assisting others. And I think you'll find that eventually you'll figure out the solution to your own problem. This cycle also pushes us to sort of manage our expectations and to try to see the gift of the situation. This cycle can bring in rewards or gifts or opportunities, but it would be really easy during this cycle to sort of override them or dismiss them because they don't live up to your expectations of how they should look or what the reward should be. And so what I would say is don't put all your energy and focus into that lower vibration of, well, this doesn't look like I wanted it to, or how this showed up is not for me because it's not what I expected it to be, because you're going to miss the bigger opportunity. You're going to miss the greater potential of whatever this is if you're solely focused on how it didn't measure up to what you wanted it to be or expected it to be. So that can be a job offer, a relationship, maybe meeting someone at this time. This is something that trips people up all the time. We have like this preconceived notion about like, this is the checklist of how my perfect partner should be. And in having that checklist, I mean, it's perfectly fine and normal to have standards and preferences, of course. But when we have like a checklist of, if the person doesn't meet this checklist, then they're not for me, we miss out on so many beautiful connections because of that. And so that's sort of just an example, but that's the kind of the energy of this cycle is be open to the opportunity, be open and present with the people that you connect with this month, because there's likely some kind of greater potential to that experience that you will miss if you're too hyper-focused on the fact that it doesn't check the boxes or it doesn't meet the expectation, because that could absolutely cause you to miss out on something potentially great. Also during this cycle, try not to spend your energy regretting past mistakes or being too focused on what happened in the past. Learn from those experiences. I wouldn't even call them mistakes. Learn from those experiences and find your way forward, because there will be so many opportunities for you to realize that there's so much, like, focusing on what's possible from the wisdom that you gain from those experiences of the past will take you so much further than being focused on how it didn't work out or it didn't turn out the way you wanted it to, etc. And so by putting your focus and your energy on the wisdom that you gain from the experience, it'll help you to make maybe more informed decisions moving forward, or making the decisions that will help you to achieve the goals that you've set for yourself. And there's also the possibility during this cycle that people from your past could resurface. And I would say, again, meet them where they are at. Don't show up to them with a bag full of conditions and expectations, because you're going to be disappointed. They're going to be disappointed. Meet them where they're at. Be open to having a conversation and manage those expectations. And those reconnections from the past could help you to learn from the past and find the ways to release it, to let it go, so that it's no longer sort of weighing you down. And it might not be that the person in the physical shows up, but you might start thinking about them, or maybe they're entering your dreams or something like that. And that's the indicator that, you know, there's a little bit of work that needs to be done there to honor that experience and find a way to release any of the heaviness that you might carry from it. So even if the person in the physical doesn't show up, if you start thinking about that person or that experience, it's an opportunity, it's coming into your awareness to remind you that there's still some residual, energy there that needs to be cleared so that you can move forward, not so heavy, not like so burdened by whatever that was or whatever happened. So you could see that you have plenty of opportunities to do that at this time. You could also meet some significant people at this time. This 9 energy brings in that those spiritual soul contracts can be romantic, but doesn't have to be. It can absolutely be, like a new friend or a new pet, or, something that comes in that can help you. There's some kind of an alliance that can help to open the doors to the new opportunities, the new experiences that want to come in for you, especially in 2026. So yeah, there's just this beautiful opportunity this month to focus on what's important and to not get hyper-focused on what's not important. And what I mean by that is, again, it's great to have preferences when it comes to the relationships we want or the job we want or whatever. But if we get too hyper-fixated on that, we can miss out on an opportunity that has tremendous potential. So just stay open, stay present. I pulled an animal wisdom message for you all, and you got bat energy. And so immediately, bats use sonar. They move through the night. They're able to, quote unquote, see through the night. And so through the darkness. So there's definitely something here about following your intuition, that inner guidance, that inner knowing. It's going to lead you to the path that you need to go down, right? Whether it's doing some healing, releasing the past, is going to show you what you need to do in order to do that. So follow that inner guidance. You already know. You already have the answers. So follow them, trust them. And with that energy coming through, it's that reminder that that intuition is your greatest guidance system. Like, obviously the information from the external informs, but we're meant to take that information, couple it with the intuition, and make the most informed decision for ourselves in that moment. And so I think your intuition is going to be coming in quite strongly this month. And again, you're 33s, so you're already highly sensitive to energy, highly tuned in. So use that tuning system to make sure that the decisions that you're making this month are the decisions that, first of all, most align for you, but also open you up to the greatest opportunities without dismissing things just because they don't meet your expectation of the ego, right? So beautiful energy this month for you all. I hope it's a great one. Take care. Bye for now. Life Path 44-8. So you are going to be working with a vibration of another master number, the 5611-2. So this can bring in greater inspiration, that inner pull, that from your inner knowing, that little voice inside of you could be really loud this month. And the question becomes, what is it saying? As you stand on the precipice of a new year, a new 9-year cycle, a new era, what do you see for yourself moving forward? What's outdated? What's expired? What's standing in your way? And what decisions do you need to make in order to move forward? What actions do you need to take to help you to get there? And what can you do now this month to prepare for your best possible 2026? And with the vibration of the 5611, again, this is a master number. And so it will demand more from you, but it offers greater rewards in return. So balance is going to be key. Self-control are going to be necessary during this period. And it can feel like a lot of kind of nervous energy, like there's a lot of moving parts this month. And so you need to kind of keep your head on your shoulders, take things in stride, pay attention to the bigger picture, but focus on the details. And I would say be careful about basing decisions or judgment on how things appear to be. Your intuition is going to be really strong this month, and I would say follow it. And break free from sort of adhering to the illusions. You want to go beyond the appearance of things. It's possible that you could see favorable financial outcomes during this time, but any kind of like interaction when it comes to, or any kind of transaction this month can be really favorable, but it's going to require you to, again, break beyond that illusion and be able to see things for how they truly are and break free from the stories. That's going to be really, really important. Because it's easy for us to believe the stories that we create in our mind about how we perceive the situation to be. But this month is going to be pushing you to get to the truth of the situation. And oftentimes that's done through conversation, through asking the questions and going deeper. And then you have more information and you can make a more informed decision. So don't be afraid to ask the questions and pay attention to the answers. This is also a month where I would say being able to shift your focus onto the needs of others and showing up with your wisdom, with advice, being the peacemaker, being able to bring peace and harmony to a situation are going to not only work in the favor of those whose lives you touch, but also work in your favor as well. A lot of times when we are moving through something difficult or we have an issue that we have to solve, when we shift the focus from ourselves onto helping others, 9 times out of 10, that solution surfaces and we're able to, gather that information and come up with a solution for ourselves. So by shifting the focus onto others this month, you could be doing them not only a great service, but yourself as well. So this is a month where I would say any opportunity that you have to be willing to help those in need will definitely bring greater insights about what it is that you need in order to find those greater solutions for your problems or your, whatever it is that you're facing. And you could find that people are seeking you out for that assistance this month. And I would say be open to giving it and to again, shifting the focus from self to others. And I think it can be incredibly rewarding. Indecision is going to get you this month. If you're not decisive, if you're not decisive in taking action, you can start to feel frustrated or anxious. So, the gold here this month is in the decision making. So you might find yourself at some kind of a crossroads this month, some kind of impasse where a decision has to be made. And what I would say is, again, let the external, the information inform you, but follow that intuition, marry the two so that you're making the most informed decision. But a decision will likely have to be made at this time. And that decision is going to inform your action, and your action is going to inform your experience. So not to put the pressure on the decision, but just know that you can always shift gears down the road if you need to. If that decision no longer works for you down the road, you can always shift gears and move in a different direction. So, just make sure that you're not putting off making that decision for fear of making that decision. And trust yourself. Follow your intuition, follow the inner guidance. Let the external inform, but not dictate that decision. And you'll get you'll be making the decision that's most aligned for you and your experience at this time. Discernment and decisions are going to be really key this month. So take the time. You don't have to rush that decision, but take your time and make the most informed decision you can for your experience, and that will give you the greatest results that are most aligned for your personal journey. Also, this month could require more understanding and sort of more impartiality on your part. So, have grace for yourself, have grace for others, and you get to choose how you engage. So remember that you always have that power. And, you just want to continue to get to the truth of the situation. And again, not just take things at face value. Asking the questions is going to be so important this month. And again, being open to the answers. So we pulled an animal wisdom message for you all, and you got bee energy. And so, when bee energy comes up, of course, like productivity comes up and, the worker bee. But more than that, there's a collaborative effort with bee energy. Like nothing happens without bees. Without bees, we are nothing. And so I think that's such a beautiful metaphor for 44/8s, because for 44/8s, for everyone, for all of us, things don't happen without us, right? In our experience. So for your personal experience, nothing's going to happen without you. Things can be handed over to you, things can fall in your favor. But if you don't make the decision and take the action to move in that direction, to do something with it, nothing is going to happen with it. You are the most important piece of the puzzle when it comes to your experience. And with bee energy coming through, it's that reminder that it doesn't happen without you, and it needs to happen in a collaborative effort with others. We're not an island either. So there's this sense of community, of collaboration, of connectivity, of again, finding that greater balance when it comes to uniting with others and finding common ground and compromise and working with others, even if they're difficult to work with. Maybe they think you're difficult to work with. But you see what I'm saying? There's that, especially working with 2 energy, there's that need for greater collaboration, greater connectivity, greater unity, balance, harmony, all those things. With bee energy coming through, it's that reminder that, again, it doesn't happen without you. And also, it doesn't happen unless we are sharing and collaborating and working with others in some way, shape, or form. So let that kind of guide you this month when it comes to your decisions about maybe you feel like you have to do it all alone, and you can do it all alone. You'll eventually get the results that you're looking for, likely. But, there's so much here about working smarter, not harder, and recognizing that there are possibly better ways of doing the same thing you're setting out to do. So connecting with others, collaborating with others, working with others in some way will not only bring that greater sense of community, but will also be able to expand and grow whatever it is that you're setting out to build. So yeah, beautiful energy this month for you all. I do think there's going to be some significant decisions to be made, especially as you get ready to step into 2026. But, you have everything that you need in order to do that. And the key component is your intuition. So follow that guidance, trust it, don't second guess it. You can always pivot down the road if you need to. All right, I hope it's a great one. Take care, 44s. Bye for now.